Up next, I'm speaking to the Maribyrnong Truck Action Group, who are very concerned about the fact that the Westgate tunnels have extraction stacks but no filters. 133 693. I want to know how polluted it is where you live and if the government has done anything at all to address the issue. 133 693. Now, according to the state broadcaster, residents have rallied. This actually happened. Residents have rallied in Melbourne's inner west. It happened over the weekend. They are calling for pollution filters to be installed on Westgate Tunnel ventilation stacks. They're the big exhaust towers you see. They want the particulates filtered. But the government is saying, no, there won't be any filters. They're not needed in the $10 billion project, which we're told is due to be completed later this year. Somebody who disagrees with that assessment is a resident of the West who's formed an action group, the Maribyrnong Truck Action Group, to be more precise. His name is Martin Wurt, and he joins me now. Good afternoon, Martin.
Hi, Tony. Thanks for talking with me.
Now, a protest on the weekend, it I guess, enunciated your concerns. Tell us what they are.
Yeah, we're really concerned that the two vent stacks, on the Westgate Tunnel project are not being filtered. The government set up an inquiry in 2017 to look at the potential impacts of the project, and that inquiry recommended filtration from day one. Unfortunately, the planning minister at the time, Richard Wynne, he decided not to listen to that advice and said it could proceed without filtration. Their kind of fallback position was they said they designed the vent stack so that filtration could be fitted if needed. So the vent stacks are kind of ready for filtration to go in.
Yeah.
They didn't listen to their own inquiry. And we know, looking at health evidence for the western suburbs, we've got some of the highest rates of hospital admissions for diseases related to air pollution. We're already heavily impacted by the amount of diesel from trucks going to and from the Port of Melbourne.
Yeah.
And without filtration on those vent stacks, we might get the trucks off our residential streets, which will be great. But if those trucks are simply underground in the tunnel and the pollution pumps out back over us, there's not going to be any better health outcomes for us.
Okay, I read a report that was based in New South Wales that basically said that filtration is quite rare globally speaking, that stacks are generally relied upon to do the job because to filtrate, I think it's a power source is required and they're expensive to maintain. Is that the reason you were given by the minister for not having filtration?
No, at the time, the EPA, after that inquiry that said to filter, the EPA said it wasn't necessary at this stage. There's 15 other countries around the world who filter their vent stacks in busy, polluted urban areas where there's already impact. So there's great examples of it going on. You know, Germany started doing it in 1993. The government keeps saying that filtration is in its infancy and it's not proven, and it's not true whatsoever. 15 countries do filter their vent stacks.
Okay, so what are you calling on the government to do? And are you saying the stacks could be filtered? It just requires, a government with the will to do it and the checkbook?
That's correct, yep. As I said, those vent stacks have been designed for filtration. That was kind of the position they adopted when they didn't accept the recommendation to filter from day one. They said, we'll build them so that it can be fitted if it's needed. We're saying our community is already impacted by air pollution. Now is the time to do it, not make it worse. There was a new 2021 Environment Act, and that's got this component called General Environment Duty, and the government introduced it so that communities could stop pollution before it actually becomes a problem. And that's what's happening here. So they should be using their own 2021 Environment Act to put those filters in now. If they had to do it later on, Tony, they'd have to close the tunnels down. Can you imagine Transurban closing down these revenue-rich tunnels later on to fit filtration? It's not going to happen. You do it now while you're building it.
Well, that would certainly make sense. Is it likely to become a deal breaker at the next state election? I would imagine you guys are campaigning in order to send a message from the western suburbs to Spring Street that these sorts of things are important. Electorally, how does it stand?
Yeah, when you live in the western suburbs, you feel like you're being taken for granted. They are safe Labor seats. Labor has done some great things here, and as I said, the tunnel will get trucks off our streets. But if we're going to continue to be impacted by that pollution, people are going to think twice about voting for Labor. They're going to go for someone who's going to have the interests and the health outcomes of the western suburbs at the forefront of their mind.
All right. Well, let's see if that does come into play in that regard. Martin, thank you for your time. You are president of the Maribyrnong Truck Action Group, protesting on the weekend about the lack of filtration in the extractor towers of the proposed, or the Westgate Tunnel that is currently being built. Thank you for your time, Martin.
Thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate it.